other utilization of BNB, of course, it is not the only one use case of this, but in that sense, it can be considered as a utility token.
Okay.
So these are the 5 main categories of crypto assets. So now you can see that like not all of them are currencies.
Yeah.
Okay. So I think now the question is that how do you do the review or analysis that whether a crypto asset is Sharia compliant or not. Yeah. So if you understand these 5 categories, so these 5 categories have different Sharia principles and rulings. How to identify the subject matter and how to deal with that subject matter. Because, for example, if it is a currency token, so then it will follow the Sharia rulings of currencies, exchange. In Arabic, we call it bay'u sarf.
Yeah.
So it has to be on the spot. It cannot be on, for example, if somebody wants to buy BTC with US dollar, then it cannot be a credit sale.
And this is, guys, this is the reason why Forex is a big issue. You guys can watch my Forex video. I'll put it up here. The concept of it being a spot transaction, even though they call it spot, but it's not really spot. It's a futures transaction. And that's where the issues really come up. Okay, sorry, Dr. Farrukh, keep going.
Sure. So then you, and then if it is a commodity token, so then you have to identify the commodity, and then you have to see whether that, because okay, there might be some commodity tokens which are the for which the underlying asset is wine. So then you can see easily that it is not a Sharia compliant token.
Yeah.
So all these categories have different Sharia principles and rulings, and then we need to apply them. Now, practically, how do we do and how do we apply them? First, you need to look at the underlying asset. That what is the underlying? Is it a project? Is it a product? Is it a commodity? Is it an equity? What is it behind it?
Got it.
And second thing is that what is the objective and aim of this token? Why it has been created? So we need to analyze it from the Sharia perspective also, that why it has been created and what are the objectives it is trying to achieve, and whether it has achieved, it is achieving or it has achieved those objectives or not.
Okay.
Third thing is basically if it is a company, if it is a project or a product, then you have to analyze that also.
Okay.
Because the token will be driving its value from the whole ecosystem behind it. It's okay. It is again, since I have mentioned this, so I need to also say that there are so many parameters in the ecosystem.
Yeah.
It's not one source, not one use case. So we need to identify the whole ecosystem, that whether it is in as a majority of the ecosystem is Sharia compliant or not. Only then we can and then we will see that like how the token itself is being attached with the ecosystem or not. Only then we can decide whether the token itself is Sharia compliant or not. Okay. So then the ecosystem behind it. So the issuance process is also very important. The usage is also very important. We need to see how it is being used by different communities and the users. And the last thing is the redemption process. If there is a redemption process, use cases, these we need to look at. Now, where should we look for all this information? So again, we need to look at the sources. For example, official website, white paper, and GitHub link also. And then other than that, like you can also look at third-party information also, like what they are talking about it and how they understood this token. So this is also important. And last thing, but this is not the least, that we also need to look at the protocols and projects, partnerships. So whom it is doing the partner, because again, partnerships are also very important, because a token can drive its value from the partnership itself.
Okay.
I remember that when Stellar was way back, like in 2017, they had a partnership with Microsoft.
Mm-hmm.
So with that partnership, I remember that within few hours of this announcement, it went up by 37%. 37 38%, although like it was, so like we need to also look at the partnerships of the ecosystem, that what are the partnerships. So I think that this is basically the whole process, but it's still very dynamic.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, it is not like 2 plus 2 is equal to 4, so like it's not mathematics. Some people ask me that, okay, can you give us the criteria?
The
I say,
algorithm.
yeah, so I say I do not know how to give you that criteria, because it's quite dynamic, and it's again changes on case by case basis.
Yeah, you should be like a 3 year FIC course in an institution, and a 4 year degree or 3 year degree diploma in economics and finance, and then you should get the understanding, because what you just gave us, the different steps. Honestly, I know this because I've been working with you guys, and I understand that this is just a high level view. Within each step, it requires a lot of heavy fiqh and a lot of heavy knowledge when it comes to Islamic finance. And so when people are doing their own analysis, it can be very difficult if it's not something that's abruptly very clear that it's a halal protocol, because there could be things that are in between that might be questionable, and that questionable requires an in-depth knowledge, like someone like you has, or the Mufti Bilal, or somebody else from that nature has. So you give us the steps, but now I know for sure these steps are going to be, how can people use these steps?
This is a very good question. Although I do not see that in a right with even with my discussion, normal or ordinary people can still have the ability to apply the principles, because you need to have a very deeper knowledge of fiqh, technology, and how the business of crypto works. But what I can say is that with this discussion, I think that I have given sufficient points for you to understand that this whole screening process is there, and it is complicated, and we are trying our best to make it more accessible by more people, I mean ordinary people also, number one. Number two is like now I am working on trying to have automation or digitalization of this screening process, because I know sometimes when I do it manually, a review of a token, it takes me 2 to 3 days.
Subhanallah.
And sometimes, yeah, even sometimes it is very complicated. I spend like 2 to 3 days only on one token to understand fully that, okay, what is it not. And even sometimes what happens is that something pops up, and then you say, oh, I didn't know that. So like, for example, I read, there was one token, I remember that I was doing the review of that token. I read the white paper, I screened through the whole website, and then GitHub link, and then other third-party resources where I was searching for some data. Once I fully understood it, and then I started writing a report on it, and then I said, okay, it seems Sharia compliance. Second day, I Googled about it, and then I went to some news, crypto news websites, and started searching about this token. And then I found that, okay, that token recently had their first use case, and they did a partnership with an adult entertainment company. So they said they were saying, okay, this is our first use case, and we are very happy because we did it. So, but then I said, okay, now, so like everything was very clear to me. As a token, it was fine, but that was only the only use case of that token.
Yeah.
So because of that, I said that no, it is very difficult to say now it is Sharia compliant. Why? Because again, the value is also coming from the partnership, the use case, where the platform where it is being used.
Yeah.
So that's why I was saying usage is also important. So again, the thing is, we are trying to basically automate this process, because 2 to 3 days time, I think that on average every day we have almost like 50 or 60 new tokens.
Yeah, and I don't think, being very honest with you, being very frank with you, I think it'll be very difficult. And I mean, this could be my lack of knowledge. That I think it will be very difficult because there's so much. It's not quantitative; it's qualitative analysis, right? Because it's such a qualitative analysis, it's really hard to put a formula or algorithm on a qualitative analysis. If it was quantitative, like it is for IOFI and stocks, it's pretty straightforward. But I think it might be really difficult, and this is why I've also said to people that really it's difficult to go through. I get so many questions: Is this halal? Is this halal? Is this halal? I'm like, I can't give fatwas, so just don't ask me about these tokens. The tokens that I've given you are just my opinion, and I've told you guys that you guys can check these out. But it's very complex and difficult to do these analysis, and you'll always see some things that you won't understand what's going on, like in sense of like what you said there. If it's a currency, if it's a utility, if it's a commodity, if it's XYZ, and then within them there's the regulation. So for a common layman like myself, I'm pretty sure a few of the brothers and sisters watching, it's difficult, and I think they're not going to go through the process of getting research and like learn Islamic finance. Go through the courses to learn about Islamic finance. So I think for them, they're looking for a solution, and from that perspective, like just a clean. They want an answer. Are these cryptos halal or not? So where they can search it up. In that regard, you're in the deep in the market. Do you have some progress on that? Do you think there's some things happening from that perspective?
Yes, actually, what we are doing is we are working with Marhaba DeFi.
Yeah.
So, inshallah, that platform will have only Sharia compliant tokens. So, we are doing review for so as many tokens as possible. And inshallah,
humanly possible. Humanely
yes,
possible.
humanly possible, yeah. And another thing is from our company with Mufti Bilal, Sharia experts, we are also in the process of making, for example, like a list or mobile application where or a web application where people can actually see the current status of any token.
Nice.
So that is basically something. It's a big news, and Alhamdulillah, this platform is the first one where I'm announcing it. But
you know what? Inshallah, we'll have one exact video on that, and we'll get to full details for that. For sure.
Sure,
I would love to.
definitely.
I would love to.
So we are working on it, and yeah. But again, it's a very difficult task. Just to give you one example, that somebody asked me that, okay, Sheikh, if you can give me some terminologies or some data points where I can capture that, okay, this is Sharia compliant or not.
Like
I can
control
do that.
F?
I mean, I can
on the white
automate
paper.
it.
On the white paper
Sorry?
control. On the white paper control.
Yeah, yes. I mean, like white paper or website. But now
I knew
told
it.
him
I
that,
knew
okay.
it.
Yeah, sorry.
I'm like, I know, because initially when I got started, like long time ago, when I was doing just research, Control F riba, Control F interest, Control F this, Control F that. But then I realized you can't do that because there's gonna be some in detail in somewhere in the writing of white paper, tokenomics, light paper, concept papers that could be an issue, right? And then the research with articles and XYZ. Sorry, I'm cutting you up, but I'm enjoying this.
Yeah. So what happened? I told this guy that last night I was reviewing one token, and when I dive deep into that token, I found that token was Sharia compliant. Okay, but on their website they have written in big bold letters that invest with us and earn interest.
Lovely. Yeah.
So if you just go to their website, you will say, oh, they are talking about interest. So they are not Sharia compliant. They are giving interest. They are saying invest with us or like stake with us, and then earn interest on it.
Yeah.
But then when I started looking at it, how their staking mechanism work,
Yeah.
and works, and then how they are doing the staking. So I found that okay, they are Sharia compliant, but they are still, even in their white paper, they are using the terminology interest.
Yeah, I know that's the Western way of writing compounding.
Yeah.
So yeah,
So
so
yeah, but then again, the thing is like really with this discussion, people would enjoy it, but they really wanted some results. They wanted some answers. So inshallah, we are working on it,
mhm.
and soon they will have a good mechanism to find out the Sharia compliance and Sharia status of specific tokens.
Yeah, and this is very important, and I'll tell you why. This video is really important because, one, people will now know that it's not a plain and simple, black and white answer of arbitrage share compliancy. And then two, there is a complicated qualitative and in somewhat ways quantitative analysis that goes behind every single one of these. So it's important that we have an intellectually advanced individual who has knowledge about Sharia, finance, Islamic finance, that can make these decisions and or help us out with this. And so that's why it's important that instead of us, reading the white paper quickly and saying, no, this is fine, or this is not fine, this is fine. We need to wait and we need to understand the more comprehensive. And the reasoning behind this is because if we make income from unpermissible manners, it's a bigger burden on your family and your life than the value that could come from this money. I have brothers who have reached out to me about SafeMoon and saying, I've made thousands. What do I do? I don't want to break their heart, so I tell them, go to your local ulama and ask them, I've made haram income from this. What should I do? And I tell them the most likely use cases you're gonna have to give charity. The ulama is gonna be like, give charity to the mosque. Put it in the box. Put it in the box. So, but so this is important for us, for future generations, and also for us to understand this. Okay. So, before we go to the next question, actually, I wanted to have another fire round because I've done with you already. I think there's a few new questions I have, and I think I can do that with you quickly. And this one's going to be a really quick one because the next questions are a little bit more serious, and so before that we can do something else. Okay, we went through these. Okay, and now this. All right, so I'm gonna give you a question, this or that, and you have to answer whichever one comes to your head first. Okay, so chicken or beef?
Beef.
Beef or mutton?
Mutton.
Mutton. Okay. Chicken biryani or shawarma?
Chicken. Sorry, chicken.
Biryani or shawarma?
Or shawarma.
Yeah.
Shawarma.
Shawarma. Okay. So then in shawarma, tahini or garlic sauce?
Garlic sauce.
Okay. Soccer or football?
Football.
Okay. In the world of in football, Ronaldinho or Messi or Cristiano Ronaldo?
Messi.
Messi. Do you watch tennis?
No.
No. Okay, so you wouldn't know. Okay. All right. If between these two countries, which ones would you say has a better chance of long-term survival with Islamic finance? Would you say Indonesia or Malaysia?
Malaysia.
Malaysia. Okay, I think we're gonna have to stop there because the next question, and I know I'm running out of time here. So, the next question that guys I want to bring you guys to is the concept of, now we have a few tokens out there which are very controversial or slightly controversial because some people will say yes, no. For example, the token themselves has a very fine use case scenario, but the organization that you would say it's linked to is having some services that are non-permissible. For example, margin trading, leverage trading, XYZ. Now, they are two separate identities because once you make a DEX, it's a decentralized exchange. The token is running on its own. But yes, the actions of the organization that started it does bring value to it. For example, BNB, Binance. BNB is the token, Binance is the organization. Now, some people are saying it's non-permissible. Some people are saying it's permissible. I went on a long research on this, but because I have you here, Dr. Farrukh, what would you say? How do we determine if it's permissible or not when we're in that situation, right? There's BNB, there's stuff like VET, where one of the use cases for VET is alcohol logistics, right? But VET was made for just logistics at large. So how do we differ? What's going on, and how do we know?
Okay, perfect. I mean, this is a very good question. Uh, I must start with there are some tokens, or there is only one token, BTC, without any organization, right?
Yeah.
So, and that is basically a token with platform, and that's it. So it does not have any relevance now with the organization or the creator, Satoshi Nakamoto. So with that one, I can say that all you need to do is look at the token and the platform itself. That's it. Because okay, I tell you why I'm saying that is because I have faced that argument from a very senior Sharia scholar that I do not know Satoshi Nakamoto, so I cannot say that BTC is halal or haram.
Yeah, you told me this last time too. Yeah.
So this is the thing. But again, the thing is, because it does not have any direct relationship now with the creator or the organization whatsoever it was. So now coming back that okay, whether a token is directly linked with the organization and all its activities or not, again, the way I see it, that first you need to define that what is the subject matter. The token itself is a subject matter, so you need to see again all the things, that how it was issued, how it is being used, and things like that. But again, in usage also, there is not only one case. It is attached to an ecosystem. And then you need to see that whether this ecosystem is biased towards haram activities only, or it is neutral, or it is biased, leaned towards the halal activities. So you need to look at all these things first. Only then you can decide whether it is Sharia compliant or not. So that the thing is, first you need to look at the token's nature itself, and you need to define that whether this token it's in it, intrinsically what is it first. And then after that, you need to look at the organization, then its activities, whether this organization is completely having, for example, a wine factory. So even if it is a wine factory, but the thing is, everything, the revenue is being generated is not Sharia compliant, right? But bank is different, by the way, because why? Because there is an argument from senior Sharia scholars that not every employment in the bank is haram. For example, driver of a car of a bank, or a security guard, for example. So there is a debate. I am not now deciding on things, but there is a debate among the senior Sharia scholars that if let's suppose that bank has a garden and there is a gardener there, he is not involved in riba, by the way, sweeper or other things, basically electrician, for example. There are other people who are not directly involved in the ribawi transactions of a bank. So there is a debate among the Sharia scholars that whether it is their employment and salary are halal or not, if they are providing halal services, for example. So